every single year we see NFL players break out and have the best season of their career. Last year we saw it with Jalen Hurts. He went from a mediocre quarterback to one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So, yeah, in today's video, I wanted to go over one player from every single NFL team who I think is gonna, break out and have the best season of their career in 2023. But yeah, before we do get started, of course, hit that like button if you guys end up enjoying this video, because it really does help out the channel. And of course, subscribe if you guys are new and you guys enjoy content like this, because I'm trying to hit 2,000 subscribers, and once I do reach my goal, I will do a Q&A. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this video started. Now, to start this list off, we're going to go with the AFC East, and for the Bills, I'm going with James Cook. James Cook, I thought, had a pretty solid rookie year. He did have to split carries with Devin Singletary and even Josh Allen, since he runs the ball quite a bit. But while I do think he does still split carries this year, this time with Damian Harris and, of course, Josh Allen again, I think James Cook, he's going to be slated to be their running back one in 2023, and I think he's going to take a big leap. I think he'll have at least 800 to 950 rushing yards, 4 to 7 rushing touchdowns, and I think he's going to do a lot of damage as a receiver as well. That man's a great receiving back. I think he'll have 400 to 650 receiving yards, along with a few receiving touchdowns. But I expect a very big year from James Cook. I think he will emerge as one of the better running backs in the leagues. As for the Miami Dolphins, I'm going to go with Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips last year was extremely good. He got 7.5 sacks, which is solid. But when you look at the pressure numbers, he was getting so much pressure on the quarterback. And this year, I think he's going to convert some of those pressures into sacks. I think he'll get at least 9.5 or 10 sacks in 2023. And by the end of the year, I do think he will be a consensus top 7 to 10 edge rusher in the NFL. I expect very big things from him, especially now that the Dolphins have Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator. For the New England Patriots, I'm going to go with Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones, he is one of my favorite players in the league, especially as a Patriots fan. His first half of the year didn't get a whole lot of opportunity, but as the season went on, he got a lot of, he became a very major player for them. He was a really good defensive player, great on special teams, and he even got some snaps on offense as well and did some damage offensively. And I think what we saw in the second half of the year, I think we're going to see that for all of 2023, assuming he stays healthy for all 17 games. I think he's going to emerge as one of the best slot corners in the league. I think he's going to emerge as possibly the best returner in the NFL. And I think he's also going to have some action offensively. So Marcus Jones, I'm really excited to watch him this year, and I think he's going to become a star in 2023. But wrapping up the AFC East, we got the Jets, and I'm going to pick Garrett Wilson. This is a very easy choice. Garrett Wilson in 2022 won Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he did that with just god-awful quarterback play. But now he has Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers, maybe he's not going to be the same MVP Rodgers he was a few years ago, but I think he's going to be an immediate upgrade compared to what Garrett Wilson had last year. So really, that upgrade in quarterback play, along with additional experience he had from year one, I think that's going to lead to him being a top 10 to 12 receiver in the NFL this upcoming season. So yeah, that's going to do it for the AFC East. As for the AFC North, starting things off with the Baltimore Ravens, I'm going to go with Odafe Oweh. Odafe Oweh, he had a solid rookie year. Second season was fine, but didn't really break out like many people expected him to. But Odafe Oweh has all of the athletic tools to be one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. And although he did not break out last year, I think he will. This is going to be the year that he does break out. As I said before, he has all the athletic tools, and I think it's just a matter of time before he does put it altogether. And I think he will have like 8 to 11 sacks this season. For the Cincinnati Bengals, I'll go with Daxton Hill. He really did not get a whole lot of playing time in his first season. That's because he was behind Jesse Bates and Von Bell, but now both of those guys are gone, and Daxton Hill, he was one of the best safeties in the 2022 NFL draft, and he had so many good traits coming out of college. Now that he's finally going to be a starter this year, I think he's going to emerge as one of the better safeties in the NFL. And I mean, when you also consider the fact that he didn't really do a whole lot last year, due to the fact that he was a backup, him being a starter and just being solid, if you ask me, that would be a very big improvement. So, as for the Cleveland Browns, I'm going to go ahead and pick Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore, he was one of the best receivers in the 2021 NFL Draft. He showed some flashes of talent with the New York Jets, but, some attitude issues and also him missing a lot of games due to injury, that really held him back on the Jets. They traded him to Cleveland, and, Elijah Moore, I think he really just needs to stay on the field. I think he needs to get, the right amount of opportunity, and I think he just needs to have the right attitude for him to break out. He has all the talent in the world to be a really good player, and I do think on the Browns, if he can stay healthy, I think he should be in for a career season, especially when you consider the fact that, the quarterback play he had on the Jets was not good. And I do think that, Deshaun Watson will be a lot better this upcoming season. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, I got George Pickens. George Pickens had a pretty good rookie year, but this year, I think he's going to emerge as like a top 20 to 25 receiver. And I mean, that's because he has all the talent in the world to be one of the best receivers in the NFL. I mean, this man was a projected first-round pick, at some point, like during the 2022 offseason, and along with that, it seems like he's developed a lot more chemistry with Kenny Pickett. And speaking of Kenny Pickett, I think Kenny Pickett is gonna be much better. So the talent Pickens has, the additional chemistry, and the improved quarterback play that I project will happen, I think it's gonna lead to Pickens having a very good season. For the Houston Texans, I'm going to go with Derek Stingley. I think Derek Stingley honestly had an underrated rookie year. I know he missed some time with injury, but when he was on the field, he wasn't really that bad of a player. And now he has more experience, which is very valuable for a position like cornerback. Along with that, the Texans' pass rush is I think it's going to be way better this year. And most of all, they got DeMeco Ryans as their head coach, and I think he's a fantastic defensive mind, and as a result, I think Derek Stingley, I think he's going to emerge as one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL in 2023. I really feel like a lot of people have forgotten a little bit about him because of Sauce Gardner and Tariq Woolen, but Derek Stingley, he's going to be really good this year. For the Indianapolis Colts, I'm going to pick Kwity Paye. Kwity Paye did miss some time last year. I believe he missed 5 games. But when he was on the field, that man was a monster. Had he played all 17 games, he would have had like 8 sacks, 14 tackles for loss, I believe, and like 40-something pressures. Pretty good numbers. And, Kwity Paye, he really improved a lot in his second year. I think he's going to get even better in his third season. And, I expect this man to have at least 9.5 sacks. I think he's going to get a lot of tackles for loss, and I think he's going to be viewed as one of the better edge rushers in the league when 2023 is all said and done. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm going to pick Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd was arguably one of the best linebackers. He was arguably the best linebacker in the 2022 NFL draft, and he was actually a guy I wanted the Patriots to potentially go after, but the Jags got him. But Devin Lloyd really did not have that good of a rookie season, but I think Devin Lloyd, I think he's going to be a lot better in his second year. There is a reason why he was viewed as one of the best linebackers in the 2022 NFL draft. And sometimes rookies do take time to get acclimated to the NFL, and this year. I think Devin Lloyd is going to be a lot better, and I do think that one day he will be one of the best linebackers in the league. As for the Tennessee Titans, I'm going to pick Chig Okonkwo. Chig Okonkwo had a solid rookie year, but I think he's going to be even better this season. For one, he has a new offensive coordinator who I think will be better because, the Titans' offensive coordinator last season, he was not very good. I also believe he got a DUI, so, simply put, he was not very good. Along with that, outside of DeAndre Hopkins, the Titans' receiving options are kind of weak, and having DeAndre Hopkins will help take away some attention from Chig Okonkwo, so I think he'll have at least 600 yards this year, and I think he's also going to have at least 4 to 5 touchdowns. For the Denver Broncos, I'm going to pick Nick Bonito. Nick Bonito, I believe, was a second round pick in the 2022 NFL draft. Didn't really have that eventful of a rookie season, but he's a guy who I think in his second year is going to get a lot more opportunity. He's an extremely explosive player. I think he's going to be mostly used on passing downs as a great pass rusher, and I think he's going to have at least 5 sacks this year, and I think he's going to emerge as, one of the better edge rushers in the league, and one day he could be a double-digit sack guy. But yeah, Nick Bonito, he has loads of potential, and I think he's going to take a sizable leap in 2023. For the Kansas City Chiefs, I'm going to pick Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney, the main thing with him is health. That man was very injury prone on the Giants. He also had, he has to stay on the field, but Kadarius Toney, when he got traded to the Chiefs, towards the end of the season, he showed flashes of what he could do in this offense, and now that I think he's more acclimated to the offense, and now that the Chiefs lost Juju Smith-Schuster, I think they're going to get him involved a lot this year, and if he can stay healthy, I think he's going to be in for a very big season. Also, he has Patrick Mahomes throwing him the ball. For the Las Vegas Raiders, I'm going to pick Trayvon Moehrig. Trayvon Moehrig, he had a solid rookie year, but the second season, not so much. But I think a large part of it is because of the new defensive system he was playing in. I think he was, probably trying to get used to it. But now that he's, got some time to learn the new defensive system, I think that Trayvon Moehrig, I think he's going to emerge as one of the better safeties in the league. He was viewed as one of the best safeties in his draft class for a reason. Now, as for the Los Angeles Chargers, the last team in the AFC, I'm going to pick Isaiah Spiller. Might be a little bit of a surprise to some people, but Austin Eckler, he's having some contract disputes right now, and I think the Chargers, I do think they will honestly try to screw him over a little bit by using him a little bit less this season. Also, Austin Eckler's not the best pure rusher, and he's a guy who I think you need a complimentary back, to make things work. Isaiah Spiller didn't do a whole lot his rookie year, but he was one of the best running backs in his draft class, and I do think that Isaiah Spiller, he's going to get a lot more opportunity this year. I think he's going to split carries with Austin Eckler when it comes to the rushing, and I think he's going to have at least 500 yards and a good amount of touchdowns. So for the Dallas Cowboys, it was pretty tough, I can't lie, but I ultimately settled with Jake Ferguson. Jake Ferguson was a guy who, watching him, it felt like he had a solid amount of potential. He definitely showed it last year. It's just he was behind Dalton Schultz, but now that Dalton Schultz is out of town, Jake Ferguson is listed as the starting tight end, and although I don't think he will be lighting the league up on fire with 1,000 yards, I think he will be very serviceable and have 400 to 550 yards and also a couple of touchdowns. And I think he's just going to emerge as a really solid tight end. So for the New York Giants, I am going to pick Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau is one of my favorite players in the league since I do support Oregon for college football. I thought he had a solid rookie year, especially when you consider the fact that he did miss a few games. But he was a guy who I honestly thought was one of the best players in his draft class, maybe the best player in that class, in that draft process. And He has all the athletic tools to be an amazing player. I think that additional experience is going to help him. Azeez Ojulari is going to be coming back this year, and because of that, I think Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be taking a very sizable leap this season, and I think he will have at least 8 sacks, and I think he's going to be viewed as one of the better edge rushers in the league once 2023 is over. Alright, this is editing Rahul here, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop in because while I was editing, I realized that I idiotically forgot to include the Philadelphia Eagles, so yeah, man, here I am. I'm just going to go ahead and give the Eagles breakout player, but my pick for the Eagles is going to be Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean, he was viewed as one of the best linebackers in the 2022 NFL draft. He was projected to go in the first 2 rounds, but ended up going to the third to Philly, and he ended up redshirting his rookie year essentially and didn't really play a whole lot, but this upcoming season, he is slotted to be a starting linebacker, and honestly, because he barely played last year, if he just goes out there and has a solid season, you could consider that a breakout year, and I am someone who thinks that Nakobe Dean is going to have a pretty solid year. I mean, he was considered one of the best linebackers in his draft class for a reason, and I think he's going to show that this upcoming year, and I do believe that in 2022, he'll be viewed, not in 2022, in 2023, he'll be viewed as one of the better linebackers in the league. So, yeah, linebacker right now, not looking too strong for Philadelphia, but I do think Nakobe Dean will emerge as a very good player. As for the Washington Commanders, I'm going to pick Jahan Dotson. Jahan Dotson is incredibly underrated. I mean, he's not the biggest guy, but he can do basically anything you want from a receiver, and although he did miss some time, he was electric when he was on the field, and Jahan Dotson, if he can stay healthy for all 17 games, I think he's going to be a really good complementary receiver next to Terry McLaurin. I think he'll have at least 850 yards and also be a monster in the red zone, and it also does help that the Commanders did get Eric Bieniemy as their offensive coordinator, and I think Eric Bieniemy should be a pretty good offensive coordinator. So, yeah, Jahan Dotson, he's going to be in for a very big season. But my next team is going to be the Chicago Bears. I'm going to pick Justin Fields. Justin Fields in his second year, I thought he improved a good bit. I mean, he's still a bit of a work in progress, but the Bears did a really good job improving the team around him. They improved that offensive line by drafting Darnell Wright and signing Nate Davis. They traded for DJ Moore, of course, and they drafted Tyler Scott. But yeah, Justin Fields, he has a pretty solid team around him now. We are all aware of the physical tools he has. I think this year he's gonna start to put it all together. I think he's gonna emerge as like a solid passer, and he's still gonna remain as one of the as an elite rushing quarterback. And I think this year he will be in that top 10 to like 14 range. So yeah, Justin Fields, pretty good season for him in my opinion. For the Detroit Lions, I'm gonna pick Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson, he had a good rookie season. He had like, I believe, 9.5 sacks, along with a solid amount of pressures and even a few interceptions. But this year, I think he's going to continue to get even better, and I think he's going to have double-digit sacks and have, like, at least 10. Aiden Hutchinson, great rookie year, and he was viewed as arguably the best player in the 2022 draft for a reason. I think he's just going to get even better. But for the Green Bay Packers, I am going to pick Christian Watson. Christian Watson, he was amazing in the second half of the year. One of the best athletes in the league. I know Aaron Rodgers is no longer there, but Christian Watson, after seeing what he did in the second half of the season, like Marcus Jones, I think we're going to see something like that, except it's going to be over the course of 17 games, assuming he does stay healthy for the whole year. I think he's going to break 1,000 yards, and I think he will also be pretty big in the red zone. So yeah, Christian Watson, he's going to be in for a very big year. And then wrapping up the NFC North with the Minnesota Vikings, I'm going to go ahead and pick Alexander Mattison. Kind of an easy choice now that Dalvin Cook is gone. Alexander Mattison, I think he was pretty solid as a backup, but he's going to be a starter this year. I think he's going to be getting a bulk of the carries, and I think he should, have a solid amount of rushing yards. And I don't think he will be a top 5 running back by any means, but I do think he will be serviceable. But moving on to the NFC South, I'm going to start things off with the Atlanta Falcons, and I'll go ahead and pick Arnold Ebiketie. Arnold Ebiketie, he's incredibly athletic. That was one of his main draws during the draft process in 2022. One of the main reasons why he was a second rounder. And I thought his rookie season, it was fine, especially when you consider that he is a little bit of a project. But now that he has an experience under his belt, I do think that he is only going to get better. I think he will have a couple of more sacks. I think he'll have at least 5.5. I think he's going to emerge as, a solid edge rusher. And, I do think that one day Arnold Ebiketie could be one of the better edge rushers in the league. And we also got to take into account the Falcons did improve their defense. So I think that better secondary will help out that defensive line. And, they even added to their pass rush by getting guys like Caden Ellis, Calais Campbell, Bud Dupree. So, yeah, Arnold Ebiketie, I think he'll be a lot better this season. As for the Carolina Panthers, I am going to go ahead and pick Terrace Marshall. I was very high on Terrace Marshall during the 2021 draft. Unfortunately, it really hasn't worked out so far. But, I got to say, in the second half of last year, I think he did start to show some glimpses of what he could be. And, now that DJ Moore is gone, I think he's going to be getting a lot more looks. Not to mention, Bryce Young is going to be at quarterback this year. I think Bryce Young is going to be in for a nice rookie year. And they also hired Frank Reich. Frank Reich, I think he is a good head coach, and I think he is a good offensive mind. And as a result, I do think that Terrace Marshall, I think he's going to be in for a nice season. And when you consider the fact that he hasn't really been that productive in his first 2 seasons, him having a solid season of 800 to 900 yards along with a couple of touchdowns, that would be, a solid leap. So, as for the New Orleans Saints, I'm going to pick Rashid Shaheed. He's a very popular breakout pick, and for good reason. I mean, Rashid Shaheed, when he was on the field, that man was a really good deep threat. I mean, he was just the definition of a big play. But now he's going to be the starting slot receiver this season. And when you factor in that Michael Thomas is made out of complete glass, Rashid Shaheed, he's going to be getting a lot of opportunity this year. And I think that, he's going to put up pretty big stats and emerge as a solid receiver. Won't be top 10 or anything like that, but he's going to be a good player. As for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I am going to pick Rachaad White. Rachaad White, he had a decent rookie year, but he was behind Leonard Fournette for much of last season. But now he's gonna be their starting running back, and I think he's gonna be a solid rusher. Won't be anything. I don't think he's gonna be putting up 1,700 yards, but I think he'll be a solid rusher, as I said before. And like James Cook, I think he's gonna emerge as a very good receiver as well. Rachaad White. One of his main strengths coming out of college was his receiving ability, like James Cook, and I think Rachaad White, I think he's gonna be that's gonna be on full display this year. I think he will be one of the better running backs in the league this upcoming season. Our last 4 teams got the NFC West. As for the Arizona Cardinals, I think Rondale Moore is gonna break out. Rondale Moore, he definitely took a sizable leap when he was on the field last season. The big issue with him, unfortunately, has just been health. But when Rondale Moore is on the field, he is a damn good player. And now that DeAndre Hopkins is gone, Rondale Moore is going to be one of the top options in that offense. He might be viewed as their number 1 guy. And although I know Kyler Murray will be missing a good portion of the year, so his quarterback play likely won't be that good, but I do think Rondale Moore, if he stays healthy, is going to have a very big season. For the LA Rams, I'm picking Cam Akers. Cam Akers was a popular breakout candidate before 2021 started, but he tore his ACL. He was a popular breakout candidate at the start of last year, but unfortunately, he was pretty bad in the first half of the season. But in the second half of the year, he was pretty good, and I do think that he is going to start to continue that in his fourth year. And I do believe that Cam Akers is finally going to break out this season, especially given the improvements the Rams made to their offensive line, like drafting Steve Avila out of TCU. Second last team, we got the San Francisco 49ers. I am picking Drake Jackson. Drake Jackson, he was viewed as a project coming out of USC. Didn't really have the most eventful rookie season, but he's going to be the starting edge rusher opposite of Nick Bosa this upcoming season, I believe. And, he's going to have a lot of help. Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, that's a lot of help. And then when you combine the fact that Drake Jackson is a guy with a lot of potential, Drake Jackson, I think he is going to be taking a leap this season. He has all of the athletic tools to be a good player. He just needs to develop some more pass rush moves, and now that he has a year of experience, I think he'll develop some more moves. And of course, as I mentioned before, the help he has on that defensive line. But my final breakout candidate, it is going to be Boye Mafe from the Seattle Seahawks. Boye Mafe, like Drake Jackson, was viewed as a project, except he was coming out of Minnesota. And like Drake Jackson, didn't really have the most eventful rookie season, but he's also he's also slated to be a starting edge rusher for Seattle this upcoming season. And now that he does have a year of experience to get better, and now that catch up to speed with the NFL game, I do think Boye Mafe is going to take a sizable leap. Won't be, I don't think he'll be a top 3 edge rusher or anything like that, but I do think he will be solid and have 5 to 7.5 sacks. And given time, Boye Mafe can be one of the best edge rushers in the league. But that's all I gotta say for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. Again, like, subscribe, do all of that stuff, and check me out on social media. The links to my Twitter and Instagram are in the description below. But without further ado, I'm out, you guys.